The Mad Discussions podcast is brought to you by the Morales Radio Hall. Visit moralesradiohall.com for all your event needs.
All right, y'all good? What's up, man? Y'all good?
Hey, what's happening?
Man, I'm doing
All
great,
right. So,
bro.
Shadow,
What's
you good,
going
bro?
on with you?
Man,
Yes,
chilling,
sir.
man. I'm ready. Y'all ready to get started?
Let's get started.
Okay. All right. So, corny joke of the day.
So here we
Okay,
go.
all right.
All right.
Are you
Okay.
ready? Now remember,
Let's
it's
go.
corny. Okay. All right. What do you call a cow with no legs?
Man, I don't know.
What do you call a cow with no legs?
A cow with no legs.
Okay.
I'm lost, man.
Ground beef.
All right. Let's go.
Welcome.
Oh my God.
To Mad
Hey.
Discussions. Mad Discussions with the Fly Guys, where we discuss music, art, and dance, right, and other life topics. Right?
What's up? What's
That's
up?
right.
How
that's
y'all
right.
doing?
All right, now,
Gucci.
of course, we're following the guidelines for here in Houston as far as keeping our masks on and getting tested. But we've been tested, so we're clear. So let's remove our
Yeah,
face
we all
masks,
COVID free
right?
around here.
We
You know,
are
but if you're
clear.
around people that you don't know and you don't know their status, make sure that you keep these on, right? But we're gonna take
Yes.
ours off since we've been tested and we don't have the vid, right?
Because
So
we Gucci.
yeah, so today, if you don't know us, we are the Fly Dance Company based out of Houston, Texas. We do educational shows and programs. Jesse, what do you let the people know where we're gonna be? We're gonna be coming to some towns across the U.S.
April 22nd, we'll be at the Memorial Auditorium. We'll be doing a few concerts and workshops out there as well. July 10th, we'll be working with the Missouri Symphony at the Missouri Theater. December 4th, we'll be working with the Youngstown Symphony at the Dior Performing Arts Center in Youngstown, Ohio.
Yeah.
That's right. Now we've been preparing for these shows, Jesse, and I know rehearsals have been really tough, right? And especially the pressure of performing, right?
Right.
So if people don't know, it takes a lot of preparation. It takes a team behind you.
Yes.
There's a lot of logistics that go behind it. But as far as the rehearsal, right, Jesse, can you touch on a little bit and let people know, give them a little peek of what it takes to get ready for a tour like this?
Man, it takes a lot of dedication.
Mhm.
It takes a lot of healthy habits, and it takes a lot of teamwork. With Fly Dance Company, we've had a lot of different cast changes.
Yeah.
And the show that we're actually working on is a specific show that we've worked with a few dancers that are currently not working with us for
Mhm.
different reasons.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of new dancers that are with us, and so we have to do a lot of catching up.
Mhm.
We have to let them know what the character is for certain pieces are.
Well, not only to cut you off, but not only that, man, we haven't been performing for a
Yeah,
whole year.
it's been over a year since we've done our last
You know
show.
what I'm saying?
So honestly, it's like how do you say? It's like putting WD-40 on the gears. You
Yeah.
know, it's like getting back on the training wheels.
Yeah.
You know, the first couple of rehearsals, I'm not gonna lie, I felt super rusty, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I felt super rusty, but we've been rehearsing for about 4 weeks already,
Mm-hmm.
and
Getting back in the groove.
yeah, we're getting back in the
Mhm.
groove, and I can say the chemistry is there. We have a good cast right now. Everybody's very serious about what we're doing. We all have the same goal, the same ambition.
Yeah.
And everything's been going by smooth. It just takes a lot of adapting, really. You have to adapt because you're working with new people, for one.
Yeah.
You have to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses,
Yeah.
and then you have to know what looks good on stage and what doesn't. And then we also have to work with Kathy's vision as well too. Kathy Wood is our artistic director,
Mhm.
and she
Founder
has
of Fly.
and the founder of Fly as well too. So we really have to learn how to work together. It's two different mindsets.
Now, you said rusty, right? Like, what does that mean for somebody, that just kind of stumbled on our podcast? They don't know what we're talking about. They don't know anything about dance or performing arts. What do you mean by being rusty?
So a lot of people think that performing is easy, but it's not. There's a lot of elements you have to do. So whenever you're on stage, you have to really perform to the audience. You have
Mhm.
to make a connection. You also have to have a lot of stamina too, because the show that we're doing is
Yeah.
about an hour-long show with a 30-minute intermission, and the cast is a very small
Mhm.
cast. There's only 6 of us on stage doing that whole show.
Wow.
So we have to really pace ourselves. We have to pace the show. A lot of times hip hop dancers, we just go, 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 go,
Yeah.
and that's it. But if you do that on a stage, you're gonna get tired like within the first 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
So it takes a lot of pacing. We have to change up the tone of each piece. Like I know our first piece is like super extreme, super hardcore, and our second piece is a lot softer.
Yeah.
We're dancing, to a classical song where we're wearing like in tuxes and stuff like that. So we have to really just adapt and pace ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. Shadow, you being somebody that's in the music business now, you work with with local artists here. You also work with artists across the country as well that are actually in the actual music industry, right?
Yes.
When you're creating a beat, right? So let's say I'm a producer or I'm someone who's thinking of putting a song together, right? What are some things that they should know, or even your creative process? How do you create when you're making music?
Well, I know for me, the first thing I like to do, I'm more of a sample-based producer. For anybody who doesn't know what sampling is, sampling is when you take another piece of music, another piece of work, and you may take a piece of it and you basically recreate it and make something new out of it. I use it as a springboard for my sparking my creative juices. So I'll find a good sample, like an old school sample from the 70s or the 80s or something like that. Something that I grew up on as a kid that creates that nostalgia for me. And, and I'll take that. I may pitch it up. I may reverse it. I might chop it up. I might just loop it. Or sometimes I might not even use the sample. I might just use it as just to spark some creativity and replay it, or just use certain elements of it. And we'll call that an interpolation. So it just goes from finding the sample. You start adding all your drums, your kick, your snare, and your hi-hat, and all your other musical instruments like your basses and stuff like that. So it's a process. It's a process.
That's cool. Now, when you're working with different artists, right? Are certain things? Do like a certain type of beat might inspire you to bring it to this type of artist?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. If I'm doing like a trap beat, if it's something that's real 808 bass heavy, that's going to be something more geared to more like your trap artists, your southern artists lean more more toward those type of beats. But then you may have somebody who's from the East Coast. They're more into the the traditional boom bap hip hop sound. So it's I'm gonna give them a totally different type of vibe. And I wouldn't want to give somebody who's used to doing hip hop boom bap beats. I'm not gonna give them a trap beat, and vice versa. I'm not finna give somebody who's used to doing trap. I'm not gonna give them a hip hop beat unless they request it. They want to do something different.
So you have to know the artist.
You have to know your
artist. You do
artist.
some research on that artist, and do these collaborations come with you meeting them, or is it how do those things happen?
Well, I've been producing for over 20 years now. I've been since '98. So when I first came up producing back in the day, you had no choice but to meet up. You had to have that face-to-face, one-on-one interaction. Nowadays, not so much. Although I still, me personally, because of that era that I come from, like,
Of course, COVID's safe, right?
Oh, always.
Make sure you follow the guidelines.
Follow the guidelines. But I always, I just rather, for me, it's about energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to try to develop an energy with somebody that you haven't met yet. You haven't even talked to them. They just downloaded your beat off of YouTube or off of your website, and you have no kind of connection with them. So that's how it is done today. A lot of producers or beat makers just put their music up on the website and just let people go and and download the music. Versus I want to have that interaction. It's just about energy for me.
But you've been in the game for 20 years. It's you have to carry yourself a certain way, don't you think? Like to be able to nurture those relationships.
Absolutely.
Or are you on Instagram acting silly, or like some of these new millennials? They're kind of reaching for that clout. Or how has your demeanor been as far as cultivating those relationships and keeping those?
I use social media to keep those relationships cultivated. But if I was a newbie in the game, I would have to use the social media to develop those relationships and go and find those relationships. But I've been doing it for 20 years, so I'm not really out looking for new artists.
Correct.
I like when artists discover me.
So like word of mouth type thing.
You know, so I like when artists hear me like, yo, man, I want to work with you. I like your music's dope.
Yeah.
Like, oh, when I hear their stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, let's work. I like your stuff too. Let's work. You know, so it's always this. I like to have that one-on-one. I got to talk to the person.
So is there some like let's say I'm starting or I'm a kid. I'm listening to you right now. I'm listening to the podcast, right? I want to get into it. You know, what's the first step I need to do?
The first thing you need to do is you're gonna have to have you gotta have your tools.
Which are
nowadays you gotta have a laptop. You know, just to start off, bare minimum, a laptop, a MIDI board, and a DAW, a digital audio workstation, which is your software, your program that you're going to make that music out of, whether it be Logic, Ableton, Pro Tools, Fruity Loops. Those are all different.
So you got your equipment, and if you don't know these things, use your Google, get on the internet and find it, right? So I got my laptop, I got my mic, I got my software. What's the next thing to do?
Man, study.
Ooh,
study.
Okay.
Study. No, when I came up, there was no YouTube.
There's tutorials online. You can do all kinds of stuff, right?
Everything is so easily accessible right now. Like there's no excuses. If it's something that you want to do, you don't even have to go to. It's like you almost don't have to go to school nowadays, man. You just YouTube University.
There you go, YouTube University, and put the time. You said right. Put the time into it.
Yes, you got to put that time. Goes back to what we were talking about in our previous episode.
Yeah.
Got to invest in yourself.
Ooh.
Investing in yourself doesn't necessarily mean always about money.
Yeah.
Time is money.
Knowledge.
Money is time. So you have to put that time in.
Absolutely.
You know, time is an investment within itself.
Absolutely. Now, Jesse, you know, is being a part of a dance company, you know, it's being with Fly, you know, you coming up with the Fly Kids, you know, how do you have to carry yourself on and off the stage?
Well, that's a good question because a lot of times whenever you're a part of a professional group, people are always watching. People are always looking. I remember you used to tell us all the time, the moment you step into the venue, you're performing.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's a key element.
No, the moment you get out the venue.
The moment you're in the parking lot, the moment we're wearing our uniform and everything.
Absolutely.
Like, you got to carry yourself professionally. You know, one little slip up could cause like your whole career.
Absolutely.
And you have to know how to talk to presenters. You have to know how to be polite. You have to know how to carry conversation. You have to know how to keep your image nice and clean. Social media, you gotta have it clean.
So this goes for even off the stage as well.
Off
when
the
you're not,
stage as well, too.
there are people always watching.
Yeah, of course. Like I remember one time.
Even when you're not performing.
Exactly. I remember one time we did a workshop. I forgot where we were at exactly. But we did a workshop, and then we went out to eat and everything. And I saw a couple parents from the kids who came to the workshop, and they were looking at us the whole time.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, if they're here with us, they're keeping an eye on us. You know, we can't act the fool. We can't do anything because it's gonna make the company look bad. Even if we're not wearing like a Fly shirt or anything like that, they're gonna recognize us.
Yeah.
And if we slip up, you know, it's not gonna be good. Yeah. We got to maintain that clean image. You know.
That reminds me of a story back in the day. So, you know, us growing up in our environments, especially for me, I know Shadow, you know, we had kind of a rough upbringing, you know. You know, Jesse, I don't know how that was for you, right? But I know for me, right? And when you're coming off, you know, a rough environment, you know, you're very aware of your surroundings. And because if you're not aware of your surroundings when you're living in these type of environments, you know, you can lose your life, right? Because something can happen at a drop of a dime, and next thing you know, people are, you know, engaging in violent acts, right? So this is very early in my career. I was maybe like 15, maybe 16 years old. And like in the apartments where we were living at, there was a lot of gang violence. There was a lot of things going on. So we went and we did a performance in the early stages, right? We went to go do a show, and then we went to a local pizza place, right? And it's like a buffet, right? I think like CC's Pizza or something. I don't know if they have them wherever you guys are listening, but they have them in Houston. It's called a place called CC's. So we're sitting down. We're doing we've just finished doing like an educational show or something with Kathy, and we're in the training, and you know, we're training to be a part of the actual group. And we sit down now. In that area where we're eating, it's a Spring Branch, and I've talked about it before. Spring Branch is suburban, but it also has the hood areas. So it had this particular one was in that, crime area, right? So we're sitting down, we're eating, And all of a sudden, like this group of people come in and they sit down, and they just, like you said, they're like the parents were staring at you. They were staring at us, right? Now I'm not used to people just staring at me, you know. So I'm already in my mind. I'm going, okay, these people are looking at us. Something's about to go down, you know. And so I'm looking at one of the other guys, and I looked at the other guy, you know, and the other one was kind of like oblivious to what was happening. And I'm just sitting there. I'm just giving like, hey, something happens, you know, it's about to go down. Mm-hmm. Right? So we're sitting there. We're eating. I'm eating with one eye open over here, you know, watching my back, right? And, you know, as you can tell, I love to eat pizza. That's my favorite, right? You know,
Mr. Fluffy.
Hawaiian, right? Mr. Fluffy over here, right? So I'm sitting. So we're sitting eating pizza, and like 4 people get up, you know, and they start walking this way. And before I can even say anything, because I'm already kind of on the defensive, it was an older man and like 2 teenage kids. And but they were like around our age, you know, and they come up, and they had, you know, they had the stern look on their face, and they walk up and they're like, "Hey, aren't y'all the guys from the school?" And I was just like, "Oh man." Right? So imagine, bro. Imagine if I would have said like, "Hey, what are you looking at?" Or what are y'all staring at? Or said something silly, you know? And that thing could have turned into something
totally different.
But that's the environment that we grew up in, you know. And getting adjusted to that, you know, is something that, you know,
something to get used to.
Yeah, something getting used to, man. Different. And one thing that Fly has always taken pride in is how we treat people when we're at these venues and how we treat people off the stage. And the presenters actually gave us the name, the Gentlemen of Hip Hop. Wow. We didn't call ourselves that. Every time we would go to the conferences, we would go to the theater.
Such gentlemen.
Yeah, like you guys are such a. Well, really, I was thinking like, you know, well, how else do you expect us to act, right? You know, what are you really trying to say?
What you trying to say?
But
that's like telling somebody, you speak so eloquently.
Right. Wow, I didn't know that you
speak so well.
I didn't know you had those thoughts,
Indubitably.
Right?
Most expeditiously.
Absolutely, right? But it was really a term of endearment from the theaters, you know, and we love that because like we spoke about this before, you know, that's how you kill them with kindness, right? Yes. And however they expect you to act, we did it, you know. And not only that, you know, Kathy, you know, the founder of Fly, you know, she always, you know, since a young age, she said, you know, we have to make sure that, you know, when we walk into these places, we don't give them a reason for them to say anything negative.
Exactly.
And what we're going to do is we're going to be professional. We're going to out-professional everybody. We're going to be the best company. We're going to have the best product. And when we leave, you know, we're not leaving these dressing rooms messy and chairs flipped over and all this, you know, stuff that some other companies or other groups might, or like the rock and roll kids, you know, like in the 70s, right? Yeah. They would go and trash the rooms and all this stuff, and then the rock star supposedly quote unquote lifestyle, right? Like for us, it's like we're very polite. You know, we treat people like we want to be treated. You know, we act. You know, we are the gentlemen of hip hop. Meaning, you know, when people book us, they can trust the brand. They can trust us.
And let me add this because this isn't, you know, respect and being a gentleman and all that kind of stuff. You know, it didn't start with Fly. Like, even though we were from the hood, like our parent, my mom and my dad, I come from a 2-parent home.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So, and even then, my mama was God.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Before.
Right.
So she drilled that in us. Always respect yourself. Respect, you know, represent. You
For
know,
sure.
You ain't just, you know, you also representing
the family.
The family too.
You
know, so yeah, man, it starts at home.
Absolutely. I grew up, you know, my family, we used to play music and we'd go to minister at churches and stuff like that growing up as a youth, you know. So it was my dad ran a tight ship, you know, and it wasn't like, my dad never went to the military, but he ran it like a military. I had 5 sisters and 2 younger brothers and myself, you know. Wow. So you already know, like, it was like, at this time we have to do this, and then we're rehearsing, playing music. So when we went, the first thing he would say, if you act a fool, we're going to have we're going to have a talk.
And it's crazy, too, because all they have to do is give you that look. You don't even got to say anything. They just give you that look, and you already know.
Oh, like, he gave you that look, you'd be like, oh,
What's
man.
the look? What's the look? What's the look?
Yeah, that's that look.
Right? For our audio listeners, we're squinting our eyes and like a Clint Eastwood.
Go ahead.
And here comes the chancla, wakata. right? But it was those type of things, you know. So Kathy just reaffirming those same things. Hey, we're coming in here. But you know, sometimes when you get away from your parents, you kind of try to sneak here and there.
Right.
Kathy wasn't
Not
having
with
that.
Kathy. I was
Kathy was not having that. She was not having that. She's like, we're going to come here. We're going to be on time. You know, she would even come and pick us up. You know, take us to the events.
Kathy ran a tight ship, too.
Absolutely.
Speaking of ships.
One thing I did like that we do every time we go on the show is at the end of the show, we always give a shout out to the tech crew.
Absolutely.
And then I also like the fact that we also give like thank you cards to the presenters, the tech crew.
It
and
does,
stuff
you know,
like that.
those are little things that we learn from Kathy.
It's
you
the
know,
little
just
things.
It's just a little thank you, you know, just telling them like, you know, we appreciate your time.
Those little things go a long
absolutely.
way, though, man.
Absolutely.
They mean a lot.
A lot of times they don't get that love. You know, they just see them as like workers and stuff. But like for us, they're helping us do the show.
Yeah, there would be no show without them.
Exactly.
Without the lighting, without the sound, without the, you know what I'm saying? The
So
people that
we
make
want to
that
send a big shout out to all the tech crews and all the
Big
theaters
shout out.
that are doing lighting, the bands that are lighting, you know, big theaters,
shout
everybody in theaters and amphitheaters all across
happen.
the United States, everywhere, all around the world. Big shout out to you guys because you guys make it possible for us. You know what? We have a good friend, Crandall, Miss Crandall, with Immortal Productions. She is a fly supporter, man. We started going to these conferences, to the APAP conference, to Arts Midwest, and I know she would do all the lighting and everything for all these conferences, you know. And you know, now that they slow down with the whole COVID stuff, you know, so Crandall, our hearts with you, our prayers are with you. We hope you're doing great. We text on time to time, but we just want to send Fly wants to tell you, Crandall, thank you to you and your team. They've always treated Fly with respect, and that's what it's supposed to be. The artist with the tech crew, you know what I mean? Yeah. So if you're a dance company, or if you're somebody in the arts world, or a musician, you know, treat those people with respect, you know, and treat yourself with enough respect to treat them with respect.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
it's funny how you say that because I think we have a funny story because a lot of times they are easy to work with. But sometimes it can be hard to work with too. Remember when we were in Germany? Oh man!
And you know what? Out of the, I've been on stage, you know, thousands of times.
Is this a funny moment?
It's a moment. You know, so like we're not. This is not a negative thing to the tech crew. Like we just told you guys, we love you guys. You know, but there are times where, you know, sometimes you do the best you can, you know, but things happen. So we had this one guy in Europe. We were in Germany, and typically when you perform, right, the sound guys or the soundboard or the light boards is typically off stage, right? So if you're performing, think about a theater. There's a curtain on each side, and there's the main curtain that drops. The curtain goes up, and then either a stage manager's on the side helping you run and give cues to the lighting and the sound guy, who's typically in the back of the house, right?
Right.
So we're doing this whole run. We're in Europe, right? We're doing like, I mean, every other day, we're doing we did like a commercial tour before, then we did like a whole run with the U.S. Embassy, right? With the embassy, with the State Department. Well, this particular time, we went into this. It wasn't even a theater, you know.
I think it was like a nightclub.
It was like a nightclub, but it was an event for the community, and it was the only performance venue type place, right? Yeah. So we get to the venue, and we see the sound like in the middle of the stage, like
wires everywhere, speakers everywhere.
But we're walking in, we're like, oh, okay, they're probably just set it up, you know.
So where y'all supposed to dance?
So exactly. So the things on the stage, right, Jesse? I know we get to the venue. I remember all of us kind of think like me scratching my head a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like what's going on? Now there's already a language barrier, right? So we couldn't really, like, we get there, we don't really say nothing. I'm trying to find who's in charge. Nobody knows who's in charge. We get there, and I see this dude, you know. So very politely, I was like, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" And he's just kind of like, he was just having one of those days, right? So, long story long, right? So so I tell him, you know, could he please move the sound, you know, because now how many guys did we have on this tour?
We had 10.
We had 10 people, and it's a small stage. We need all the room we can get, right? Well, he didn't understand what I was telling him, or he just didn't want to do it, right? So he just moves the stuff from like the middle of the stage, and it puts it like to the side of the stage. but it's still on the stage. So I'm trying to explain to him, right, like I need for it to go down, down there. But for whatever reason, this guy was just not having it. We tried every avenue, everything. It tested our patience, Jesse. I'm talking about it tested our patience to where it got to the point to where it's like, you know what? We're gonna have to just dance with this audio on the stage. Luckily, we eventually, once the people from the embassy, our driver was able to translate it and get it worked out for us. But it was for a while there, because the time that we put into the shows, preparation for the show, like imagine the amount of time that you put to make a beat, right? And then you take it to get mix and master or something, and then you get a different sound that you weren't thinking, So for us, the time that it's this valuable tech rehearsal time, we got to try to run the lights and this and that. So I was like, can I see the lights? He goes, yeah, they're right there. He points to the he points to the lights. Now I'm asking him, can you show me the light sequence? I go, oh, can I see the lights? He goes, yeah, they're right there.
Wow.
So it was that type of energy. And after a while, I was like, guys, we're just gonna have to do with it. In the middle of the show, like he's just like I don't know. It was one of those things, but we pushed through, and so whoever that light guy is, I hope you're doing all right in Germany. Let's give him a round of applause, because I'm sure he was probably, you never know. This is probably his 100th show that day or 20th show that day or whatever. You don't know what people are going through in those moments. And a lot of the times it's like something that they're probably dealing with, but we were polite about it. We didn't make a fuss, and we just let it be.
And that's where the professionality comes in.
Exactly.
You have to be able to adapt. The show must go on.
Absolutely.
Like we said before, we performed on concrete, on grass, on gravel. With soundboards on stage.
Yeah, Jesse, do you have a funny story or anything? Like, has anything ever happened to you while you're performing?
I have two of them really quick. The
All
first one, I remember we were out there, and I needed a brand new pair of performing pants because the one I had have been worn and torn and everything.
Yeah, we beat those up pretty bad on the road.
And I remember I had barely got these pair of pants, and I loved them the way they fit and everything. Yeah. And on the first piece, on the first move, I had to do a slide, and my pants got caught on like a piece of the stage. And as soon as I did that slide, big old rip on my pants. I was like, bro, really? I just bought these boys,
Yeah. And this is the first piece. I mean,
it was the very first piece of the concert, and I was like, man. I had to perform with a big rip on my pants, so I had to find some black duct tape and I just put it on there.
Well, we got you some gaffer's tape, and we were backstage I'm back there trying to find the tape, and we're putting taping it up and send them out. That's a tool too. If you're on tour and a touring tip right there, always keep a stack of gaffer's tape, because that thing will save you. Something rips on the inside, you just boom, and there you go.
I know another time, I believe we were auditioning for America's Got Talent. They came to Houston.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we got invited to go and audition. Mm-hmm. And man, this was embarrassing. I remember we had everybody's there in the same hall, like all the people that are auditioning, and it was our turn to go up there, and we did like a little trial performance, and I did not tie my shoe. And I remember I did a move and my shoe like flew, and it hit this little girl like in the front row right in the head.
That's why they didn't pick us, bro.
And it's funny too. And it's funny because I was performing with like one shoe and then with my sock and stuff. And at the very end of the show, the little girl goes, "Hey, here's your shoe. I'm the girl you hit with the shoe." I was like, "Oh man!" I saw a little Nike check on her cheek. She had a little mark on her face.
All right,
like,
she had Nike right here, air on the top of her forehead.
Real.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. One time, I remember walking out on stage at Miller one year, and we have like 5,000 people out there, bro. This is like one of the first times that we perform at Miller, and we're doing this piece called Blue Air, and I'm walking onto the stage, and all I remember is twisting my ankle, and I'm talking about rolling.
You just walking on the stage?
I'm walking on the stage, and there was like this big wire that it wasn't covered up or something. I remember, and I always had to wrap my ankle when I perform. And then boom, and I rolled it. I'm talking about it. Thing was like this, dude. It was like an elephant foot, bro. it was big, dude. And I had to do the whole. That was just walking out. And I remember the piece I had to start like I'm if I'm praying or something. It was down, look up, look left, right, and I'm like I have like a tear. I'm like holding. I was just like, and then I'm like, my family's in the front row. I'm just like, oh. So I had to do everything with like one foot.
Oh,
you know.
man.
And recently we've had one of our guys, Chad. You know, he got hurt in the beginning when we started rehearsing, like 4 weeks ago. So he's been healing with the injury. So every time I see Chad, I'm poor Chad, man. I know that.
Hey, but big shout out to Chad because even though he has a hurt foot,
round of applause.
Yeah, big shout out to Chad.
Come on, Chad. Yes, sir.
Big shout out because even though he hurt his ankle, at rehearsal he's still doing 110%.
Man, he's pushing it. You know,
he's pushing it.
That lets you know, like you know, there's no excuse. You know, there's no excuse if you want it. Kathy has had situations where she came straight from the hospital to rehearsal. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So you gotta have that grit. You gotta have that want. You gotta have that. And I have one more story. One of our guys. I'm not gonna say who it is, but he knows who it is. And this is in the earlier group, right? And this is like in 99, 2000. We're doing a concert at Miller Theater too, you know. And you know, we're kind of new to the game, but not really. We know that you're supposed to drink water, right? Well, this particular guy loved Dr. Pepper, right? And some of us do, you know, some of us don't, whatever, right? But some people like it, and especially it's big in Texas. So if you're listening, our audio listeners, Dr. Pepper is a drink here in Texas that's big, right? And I think it started here or something like that. I'm not sure, right? But it's like, you know. So anyway, so we're doing the show, and I'm noticing this guy in between the pieces, and we're doing now. This time it was only 4 guys in Fly at the time.
Oh man!
And we're doing a 75-minute show with 4 guys.
Wow!
Right? So they were at Miller Arthur Theater doing their own concert. So in between the pieces, right? I'm seeing him drink Dr. Pepper the whole time, and he's crushing them. He's one at a time. And when you go to these shows, you have a writer or something that you request as a performer for them to give you like towels backstage, water. You know, if you have it like that, then they cater it. You know,
Granola.
or they take you out to eat or whatever the case is. You know, so in our writer, we had energy drinks or whatever it was in 1999 what we had requested. And I know one thing that he wanted was Dr. Pepper. So there was like a 12-pack of Dr. Peppers. And I'm sitting there watching like as I'm doing the pieces, you know, and there's times where I'm on stage, times where I'm not. I'm just seeing like that 12 becoming, 10, then becoming 8, becoming 9. So he's dancing in this during intermission, like during the last piece, right? So we're doing the last piece before intermission. So we go and we're doing our piece, and next thing you know, he just falls out. He just passes out on the floor. Everybody's running, but it was off stage. Nobody saw this. The curtain comes down for halftime. Everybody's like, "Oh man, well, is he all right? Is he all right? Is he all right?" Everybody, and then he kind of like came to. And guess what this guy said? The first thing he said, well, everybody's like, "Oh, you okay? Okay?" He's like, "Hey man, pass me my Dr. Pepper right quick."
Oh my God.
Hey, that's how you know. That's how you know it's good. That's how you know that Dr. Pepper is
So
good.
remember, stay hydrated
With water.
Right? With water. If
Straight
you're performing, make sure that that you just stay hydrated, take care of yourself. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. If you get hurt, if you're hurt, and you don't have insurance, just try look out there. There's people that you can contact that can help you to get life insurance. I know harrishealth.org. harrishealth.org. HARRIS health HEALTH.org. Has some assistance, so they might not cover 100% of it, but if you reach out to them, and some of us, especially performers, sometimes we're starving artists, so some of us, might be a little bit more successful than others. If you don't have any income, reach out to Harris Health, and if you happen to find yourself, hurting yourself while you're performing or something happening, they can reach out to them, and it's a little application you gotta submit, and they can help you out and get your health right, because you gotta get healthy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So any last comments, Jesse?
Yeah, just like how you said, I think it is important for dancers to really look into that. And speaking off of experience, I just lost my my health benefits. So, and I'm teaching 6 days a week, rehearsing with Fly and teaching kids all day. So, and I'm currently looking for health insurance.
Well, I got
too.
you, man. I got a person that can help you out.
Nice,
If you don't, for whatever reason, if Harris Health can't help you, I'm sure we can figure it out for you,
Shout out
brother.
to Harris Health.
Absolutely. Shadow, any closing comments?
Nah, man. Just on the health thing, man, stay ready to keep from getting ready. Stay prepared. Preparedness and readiness, man. Always stay prepared, always be ready.
Absolutely. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Jesse, let the people know where they can find us.
April 22nd, we will be at the Memorial Auditorium.
Hey, all right.
July 10th, we'll be working with the Missouri Symphony at the Missouri Theater in Columbia. December 4th, we'll be working with the Youngstown Symphony at the Dior Performing Arts Center in Youngstown, Ohio.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. To my left, I have
Jesse Magana.
To my right, I have
the one and only Shadow Black.
And I'm yours truly, Jorge Casco, and this is Bad Discussions. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Peace
out.
and blessings.